In the demonstration representing around the role of the bookkeeper, we're going to walk through the day-to-day activities of financials and managing the business in that role, typically involved with creating invoices, paying bills, and balancing bank statements. For this demo, we've targeted the scenario around how to enter in a purchase invoice. How do we automate that purchase invoice entry? We'll review the vendor balances and pay the vendor accordingly. So the first entry is to enter in purchase invoices. Now, typically I could just go into an application and just do new purchase invoice. But with Business Central, we provide a much easier and simpler way to enter those invoices, and that's directly within Microsoft Outlook. So in this scenario, you'll see here in the body of the email, we get an invoice sent to us from one of our vendors, Wide World Importers. And again, I could typically Alt-Tab toggle to my business application and just start typing in the Amsterdam lamp and Sydney swivel chair. However, what I can do is here take advantage of the tight integration between Microsoft applications, and up in the ribbon, select the contact insights. And over on the right-hand side, I get an immediate view of live information happening within our application, such as the balances, the outstanding orders, and the amounts that are not received or outstanding. And all one of those blue numbers here I can click into and see real time. But I want to go ahead and just simply enter in the purchase invoice. So I'll select on new. I'll select on the new purchase. Now, what's incredible here is the intelligence that is driving this screen is that the suggested line items, because the applications are reading the body of the email and it sees the Sydney swivel chair, 42 items. It sees the Amsterdam lamp and it recognizes that that's my inventory item. So it suggests that. But what's also interesting here is it sees Atlanta as the address in the header of the invoice, but that's not anything we want to order today. So we'll go ahead and select OK. And I'll scroll down just to show you that it's more than just a simple data entry. I can change any of the expected receipt date, the payment terms, anything else that I want to put on that purchase invoice. We'll go ahead and select the ellipsis and post that document, select yes, and that's it. Now let's minimize Outlook and I'll open up Business Central just to demonstrate the real-time communication between these applications. So with posted documents highlighted on my home page, I can select on the posted purchase invoices. Now there's two ways to navigate search. I can either use my shortcut keyboard to select F3 to invoke search, or I could just type in and click on the search, enter in the invoice number I'm looking for, which is that purchase invoice we just created, and I'll click on that. And now here you see that those the 50 items, my 50 lamps, and the 42 swivel chairs. Now that was great. Again, we could manually do that all day long, but I also want to maybe take advantage of some other technologies to help automate that process. So let's assume I get the same invoice from Wide World Importers of the 50 and 42. I'll open up the PDF attachment to see it that I got from the vendor. We'll close that out. Again, I'll select on the contact insights to begin this process again. But this time, instead of just posting that, what I'm going to do is or selecting new, I'm going to use the ellipsis and I'm going to send this either to incoming documents, or I can send it directly to an OCR service that we subscribe to. And OCR stands for optical character recognition. But we want to approve it in Business Central first. So that's the workflow that we have. So I'll select, send that over to the incoming documents. I'll select OK. And now I'm done. I'll minimize Outlook. And now you'll see right here on the home page, I've got two new incoming documents. We'll go ahead and drill into the number 2. And you see there's the invoice that we received from the vendor. So I can, again, open that up. I can open up that invoice and see that it's now associated with this purchase invoice that I'm about to send over to the OCR service. So I've looked at it, I've approved it. We'll go ahead and send it over to the service. I'll click OK. Does its thing. We can review it in the OCR service. I select on that review, and then it comes back to me here. and I can open up, now it's created that purchase invoice for me directly within the application. I'll go ahead and post it, and that's it. Now I'll view the vendor balance here by selecting on vendors. I'll open up Wide World Importers, and this is the customer card, or the vendor card, excuse me, to see details around that vendor. And over on the right hand side, I could drill into the details of that vendor and see all the balances, including the one I just created here for that invoice that we just scanned from the OCR service. Now all I need to do is go ahead and pay the vendor. So under cash management, I'll go ahead and open up the payment journals. I'll select the batch for payment. And I'm going to use this automated feature in the payment journal window where I can have the application, based on priorities, suggest the vendor payments, suggest the vendor payment lines that are due soon, or payments where there's a discount available. So again, I'm leveraging the embedded intelligence of this application to tell me who I should pay first and how it's beneficial to our organization. And again, from here, you would just go ahead and choose the ones you wanted. You'd post. I'll go ahead and close that out. To close the scene, or again, the role of the bookkeeper here was to show you some basic areas around entering the purchase invoice. How do we automate that? View the balances for the vendor and pay the vendor. The idea was to show you it's, again, very easy, reduces the time in data entry process. We can improve the control of the data and then also limit the errors in this scenario.